Hello, football enthusiasts. Welcome to Blaqsport Podcast. I am your host, like always, Instrument Uche, and I'm still on the wheel to take you through what is happening in the world of football. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the biggest and most important conversation of African football, which is why do many young, talented African footballers struggle to break into Europe? Why the European counterparts seems to have a smoother path to success? Is it about talent, coaching, exposure, or something even deeper? So to help us break this down, we have a very special guest, a man who has dedicated his career to mentoring and developing young footballers. He's a UEFA-certified football development expert, a highly respected coach, and someone who has worked with young talent across different levels, preparing them to professional football. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Coach Obi Ojimadu. Welcome to Blaqsport, please.
Thank you so much. Hugo. Thank you.
All right. I want to say it's really an absolute honor to have you here on Blaqsport Podcast. And we have a lot to unpack, honestly. We really have to. But before starting from differences in academy setups and Europe, between Europe and African, to their mindset, scouting pro, and we have a whole lot to unpack. And especially with your experience with Europe football and African football, you actually here to give us a very good wider perspective to events. And one thing I'm going to ask anyone who comes to Blaqsport Podcast is, when did you fall in love with football?
Yeah, hi everyone again. Personally, just like any other young lad back home in Africa in general, we started with playing with, anything that looks round, or if it's not round, we make it round. That's actually round. So that passion had been there from childhood, and I played from primary school, secondary school. I played in the secondary school team in Imo State, Where. And after that, when I got to about 16, I would say I was good enough. Yeah. I even tried out with the Golden Eagles team.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. They came for the selection process then, and in fact, I was chosen. But I was exactly 16 then, and good enough for a 16-year-old. But the philosophy then, one of those things that happened. They were like, "Boy, you're good for your age, but not what we need at this moment. Maybe wait after." Wait after a while, maybe we'll get back to you. Just keep playing and all that. So I was excited, but at the same time, I had that. My parents were like, "Okay, don't worry. The thing is that you already know that you're good enough, but just wait for your time." So, and after that, next year I had to leave. They promised me to come for the next World Cup after 2 years. But then I had to leave Nigeria. I had to leave.
Okay.
Just before I turned 17, I left Nigeria. I got a scholarship to move to the Soviet Union then.
Okay.
So I left and to study, and it was about studying now. I had been playing football and studying, but those days, I'm talking about late 80s.
Yeah.
It's about studies, it's about being somebody and all that. And I just had to leave and travel to the Soviet Union to study. And after that, he's been studying, playing for the university team, still all about football for the Nigerian community team in Moscow then. And it's been football, but not like in a professional level anymore.
Yeah.
So that's, I had to now delve into developing myself in other areas, business and But then years went by. I stayed back in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And the love of football was still there, despite all what I was doing. I still used to play, we have the Sunday leagues and all that. Yeah. But then at the time, I was like, just like most of us, we are all coaches in quotes.
Yes. Okay.
I watch games, I analyze what's going on and all that. And the idea was like, hey, why don't you just go and get like a certification?
Yeah.
Just for yourself, because I'm somebody who loves studying. I love learning.
Yeah.
Every year of my life, I'm studying. I have a pack of certificates, things I know how to do. I try to get certified in them.
Yeah.
Even as we are here today. And now I'm just finishing one study. The next month, March, I'm going into another study. I'm that kind of person. So I'm like, go ahead, get the certification, learn more about football is your passion, and maybe find a place in the football industry. The football. So I applied for my UEFA-C license, which was very good. I did it brilliantly. And after that, I went for the B license, which I did as well, and I got it. So I'm now getting ready to get the A license.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where I'm heading to now. Maybe in a few months, I'll start that one as well.
I really appreciate your journey.
Yeah.
Go on.
So it's been like that. I like moving ahead. I like going higher. I don't like stopping at any particular, somewhere in between. No, I like going further. Now, well, events went by. At this moment, I'm also now a referee. I did the referee courses already, got the diploma. Now a certified referee with the Football Association of Ireland. So, in fact, I coach, I'm a referee, I play on my own. My son is a football, so football is there in the DNA. So
in the DNA, I can see that.
I always have football around me. So that's the short story about my venture into football.
I love what you just told us concerning moving, starting off to going for trials for the Golden Eaglet, and then because of age and I believe you have to do with physics again, because I know back then, if were you really big? How were you at 16 years old? Because I know sometimes the money say, you're not really that big. They want really hefty, big people.
I wasn't like big. I was like any other 16-year-old boy. But it wasn't just about physique. It was about the, not be 16. Okay. How many fun you have after it and all that,
fine. Oh, man. I love when you bring in this. Okay.
Yeah. It's a different topic for another day.
Yes. It's
along the line. And when I looked at the people who went for that squad, I was dumbfounded. People I knew. People who are like my,
yes.
in class 3, they did 6 and all those stuff,
They were like, no, these people are way bigger. What's going on?
The ones I knew, I checked out, I know their ages. I was like, oh wow. So that was when I really understood what they meant, that I'm still young, I'm not really...
You're still young, you're not really to that level. It's good that you had this experience, because this brings us to the first thing we're going to discuss in regards to the harsh truth, and that has to do with why African academy players not really breaking into the European elite teams like they used to, and there's a huge decline in that. Why the European counterpart seems to having a smoother run into the elite football, and having experienced this firsthand, what it takes to be a young aspiring footballer who wants to make it into professional football and was cut short because of maybe some uncertainties, or because you're not able to meet up with a gap they expected. So let's break that a little bit. Raw talent and structured development, which is the first thing we're going to discuss. We believe that we have this young talent in Africa, just the same way you have in Brazil. Everybody, if you walk out of the streets, they're all playing football. Football is like everybody is the first language every kid learns. If you go through the story, tell you any young player will tell you that their parents was chasing them not to be playing football. It's a normal thing, because the only thing a child can do outside is play football. And they tell you, go into the house, that's all, because that is just one of the most popular sports in Africa. Or let me use Nigeria as an example in this, as a case study. In this situation, do you think having a structured development and having a raw talent, where do you think that African academy players are running short in?
If I would say, first of all, talent is not enough. Definitely. Talent is just like being raw diamond until you're polished for it to become now gem. And that is the problem that we're having in Africa. We have the raw talent. We have the raw gems that you need to polish. They have to be cut. They have to be polished to become diamonds so that they could shine. And this is where the problem is, mostly in Africa. The lack of proper infrastructure and coaching, I will underline that word, coaching, is the biggest problem that we have. These are the biggest problems that we have hampering the youth development in Africa in general. Not talking about the administrative ones. Another layer.
That's another thing, yes.
That's another layer. On his one. So you see that you have raw talent, you have good players, but without that proper infrastructure, proper training, having the knowledge, understanding that football is not only about physique or stamina. You see that on average African coach or a Nigerian coach who focuses more attention on stamina, do five reps, do press up, shoot, don't worry, this, that, it's not just about the physique, it's not about the strength, it's about the mental, the knowledge, the tactical knowledge as well, the technical preparation of these young players. So in the academies, that's number one, preparing these players technically. Let them learn how to play, how to move, how to position their bodies at any point in time. Technical, individual work, they learn it. Then before, as they start growing, getting to maybe age of 12, 13, you start putting effort into the tactical knowledge. That is one thing. I don't expect the under 10s and 11s to start knowing how to put their shape in the 4-4-2 or no. Don't worry. Even them knowing their wings, that one is not even important. The important thing is to let them know how to play the game. Let them know how to position their foot when they want to shoot, when they want to pass, when they want to, curl the ball, and all that. That is the most important thing. You can put them in a diamond shape every training so that they will understand where to pass, what direction to face, and make that pass. You don't put so much of the tactical knowledge in that. So again, talking about the structure in general. Structure-wise, these things are lacking because again, the coaches are not there, the system is somehow broken, and you don't really have the right people, technical departments, people who can really help these young lads have a program. I'll give an example. When I was doing my UEFA license in Ukraine, then right there in the group there were two managers from Shakhtar Donetsk. Also taking the license. So after a while, I did very well. I'm not like trying to boast, but out of about 24 people, I was about amongst the only 4 people who got distinction in the course. So the guys approached me towards the end. They were like, "We've been watching you all around here. We've seen how your knowledge, this and that. Would you mind to join Shakhtar Academy? The structure in general." I'm like, wow, but one thing is, I have my own job, I have my own business. He said, no, you were around it, and that was it. So after that, when we finished the licensing, got our diplomas, they invited me over, sat down, the contract was on the table, and the good thing was that they gave me a kind of free hand. In my region in Ukraine, there where we were staying, they wanted to open a kind of grassroots academy. That region. And talking about structure, just 1 second, please. Talking about the structure. So the idea there, I want to say this first so that we can now see where we are missing it in Africa. And in Nigeria in particular. The idea was this: Shakhtar Donetsk had arrangements with sports schools, with ordinary schools that have good pitches, or weather pitches, Astros. The idea is that they'll get coaches, young coaches, just put them around there, get kids just to come and train. As long as you know how to kick the ball, or even you want to learn, kids from the ages of 7 to 12, just come and play. So these coaches, they went through trainings, the Shakhtar development program, and now they put them in all this. In my time, we had about 4 of them. And that was it. Just training them on the basics, how to put their foot, how to pass, how to move, and that's it. At the end of the training, they just play, have fun and play. Equipment were there, the football, the kits, everything. So the schools gave out those pitches free of charge because everything was for the good, for the grassroots development. For Shakhtar, it's not like big money. The idea was that to keep the kids in that neighborhood busy, and then the coaches should be developing talents.
Okay.
I had my center, and I was in charge of the whole region.
Yes.
So we used to have tournaments amongst the teams.
The schools, okay.
Yeah, in-house tournament, we call them. And from there, everybody gets a medal for them to understand it's not like winning. I'm the winner. You come first. Yeah. Every participant gets a certificate, gets a medal. So, because at this age, it's about learning and developing. It's not about winning. So, now, after that, I already picked people. Amongst like maybe 200 children taking part, I could have a pool of about 40. I have identified that, yes, these kids are good enough. So, after maybe a quarter, every quarter, the Shakhtar development, under the academy, central academy, they will come down to the region. We'll have open trials for these kids.
Okay.
From ages of 7 to 12. They just watch them. I come, meet those younger coaches there. We organize those 40 kids, have to have like some blind trainings, some kind of matches. And out of the 40, they might pick like 18, 20. They'll go like these ones are okay. These ones, watch out for these potentials to grow, and this and that. They will grade them. Not that they're not taking them yet, they will just grade them. They might say, okay, they arrange these ones, put these ones in a particular team, these ones in the team. The first team, pay attention to this. The second team, pay attention to that. Third team, pay attention to this. So that after about 6 months, they must have grown or learned what they didn't know.
Okay.
So after about a year, might do another training, another scouting program. You see that among these 40 kids or the 18 that we mentioned, you might see people moving from one section to the other. So you balance things. You see some people are late bloomers. Some people might start off wonderfully and then later they dip. So the structure was there. So I was in charge of that. And whenever after the end of the year, the ones who are 12 now, moving to 13 years, by then we've gotten about maybe 18 players.
Yeah.
Take them to the Central Academy for trials.
Okay.
They go over there, they make it, they keep an eye on them. And for the age of 13, they join the Central Under 13 Academy.
Okay.
And the cycle continues.
It continues like that.
Just like that. So that's why they start from under 13 then Shakhtar, under 15, under 17, under 19, under 20, and then the second team and the main team of Shakhtar Donetsk. That's how the structure is. So me being somebody who I love to build.
Yeah.
Invited me to the central to work with the under 20s, under 21. I refused. First, my business is back home in the region there. Secondly, I like to build.
Okay.
I like to build from the beginning. So it's my passion. I like
when they're still young.
When they are catching young, building them up. Every year I send about at least 5 or 6 of my kids join the main academy in the central office out of about 8 regions. They might take 18 players. Believe me, 1/3 must be from me. That is minimum. So, because this is something I do, this is something I know how to do and all that. So now, I've given you like a kind of a story now, storyline. Let's move this story now. See if we have anything like that in Nigeria, for example. Let's use Nigeria as an example.
Yeah.
We don't have it. Top. So that's why they say, super under 17 Golden Eagles trial, they opened the gate, 2,000 players rolling.
2,000 players, exactly.
You don't have something like that. You're already like when Shakhtar Donetsk, the academy players are playing, the under 15s are playing. They have competitions amongst academies in the whole of Ukraine. And the scouts come there to watch. The national scouts come there to watch. They already know who to
pick. Yes.
You don't need to open the gates for 1,000 people, kids to start running around. No. And everybody is in the database already. Then the Shakhtar, we already upload all their documents, their passports, their national identification numbers to the Football Association database when they are like 7 years, the age of 7. So you can never change your age again.
Yes.
As long as that player is registered, boom, it comes out in the system. Yes. Any tournament, anywhere, it's in the system. The picture, the passport, the identification number, everything is there. So nothing like age cheating and all that. So the system is there. Now, coming back to Africa, come back to Nigeria in particular.
Yes.
Like I say, we don't touch. So this is one problem that we're having. And you see a 16-year-old Nigerian lad, very talented, but he doesn't know the basics.
Yeah.
While I was in Ukraine there, where I started working the 16s as well, I had 2 Nigerian boys who came in, 16-year-old Nigerians. I watched them train trials here and there to see if I could adapt them into my team.
Yeah.
Really, it took me months to help them to unlearn some things they learn, and to learn the basics. But these were very talented lads.
Yeah.
It took them to adjust because they didn't have any grassroots training.
Yes.
Back home in Nigeria. And there were boys there whom they were far better than, talent-wise. But because this one got proper training right from the age of 7, they are doing much better, taking decisions faster, better, tactically aware, technically better and all that. See, so the difference now comes up, which comes up with what we're still going to talk about more later. So again, going back there, you see that lack of proper infrastructure. Do we have any academy in Nigeria? Any proper academy?
Okay.
Only maybe Remo Stars, maybe another one. We don't have such academies. What we call academies, or people going around calling their teams academies, they are not academies. Having just a football pitch, which is like sand everywhere, having 1, 2, 3 rooms where you pack the children and give them food, the here and there, that's not an academy. Academy has a big structure.
Yeah.
But coaching, but having the tactical department, having the growth, you have the nutritionists, you have the physio, you have all this. You have the teachers who help them do their school work and have them affiliated to a school even. So that after school, together, you come back, you put them in training. We don't have such a structure. So you have very few academies in Nigeria, maybe 1 or 2.
That has this kind of
structure, and this is the only way you can nurture children, so that from the beginning they can really grow. So this is the major issue. This is the major that we have. No structure, no real coaching, impact on these children.
All right. So thank you so much for the real dive into your personal story and how it connects with this. And to break this a little bit further, just for my audience to actually understand where you're actually coming with this, you'll be able to actually break down towards that we don't have proper track in record of players in Africa, which is one of the most essential in when you're talking about structured development, because you need to track development from each stage to another. In that way, make it easier for you to assimilate these players into any project you have. And also, you also brought into a part that you have some players who we are not really some can actually pick up and they dive and they dip in, and some actually are late boomers. All these are also being tracked. So if at any point in time, you can always have an options to fall back to. So you don't need to you're not having any Olympics 20 any Olympics coming over, and that very year or that year is when you start to look for players to play for that tournament. And this only brings us to why, like you explained that most players, when they come to Europe for trials, they don't get to make it because they lack those basic fundamentals that you need as a footballer. And taking things from my own personal view, I'm not a professional footballer, but as an African player, when you are growing up, everybody plays football. And there's something we call like everybody has a club you're affiliated to. We don't call it academy, you just call like a football club. You normally go just to play. We just go there to play. It's not really as big as it is, but it's normally at the grassroots level. Now, the things I knew as a player was when I actually worked a little bit with an academy back in Nigeria. I was already grown. That was when I started learning about some few basics that I wanted myself. I was thinking that Adimeogu that time, but I will tell you the truth. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. And to actually bring in a little bit of a story of a player that actually been on this pod before, he went through the academy, one of the best academies in Nigeria then, growing up, which is the Diamond Football Academy. Having provided a little bit of structure, they have a structure they're working with. But even at that, when he moved to Europe, he told me personally on the pod that he struggled. Yeah. Not just what he struggled. Not just them. He really struggled because he was trying to adapt to the training, adapt to you can play. You have the wrong talent. Keep that aside. Yeah. Now let's talk about the basics. What do you do when you have a ball? What's the first? When you're touching a ball, you need to know what is the first thing you do. That's right. Where do you look? So these are the things that we don't build, and because there's no structured developing that process. We don't have it in Africa. And for merits of this pod that we're doing today, we want to just look at various ways we think that this could be improved, because there's something we know about African problem is that we all know it, but how do we mitigate it? How do we move from this point to this point? Now, like what you just said, that these are already schools establishment already going on, and these football clubs are employed people down to have oversight, to be able to nurture talent easily, to assimilate them into the academy. So in Nigeria as a whole, how do you think this could be implemented? Because I believe in the first of you use what you have, what you've seen, to develop what you don't have. So we've seen this and you've worked out. You've actually seen it. You part of it. It's possible. So how do you think we can actually impute this into the Nigerian system or African system as a whole, in a way to build a more robust and strong structure for development of young stars?
First of all, one of the biggest problems in youth or the grassroots football is funding, because it's a system where you don't really reap money at that point in time. You don't have a Champions League you're going to win to get money. And don't think you're going to sell a player and get like 40 million and all that. You have to invest money. And you see that in Nigeria, for example, our club sides don't have that money. So many of them are struggling to even pay their players, not to talk of now having an academy where they will just be putting money in. So this is a major problem there. One thing again is that the government should keep their hands off football. State governments, having teams, treating them like they're civil servants and all that. Football business is huge. It can rake in a lot. Sponsorships, ticketing, local businesses being patronized. It is huge. Merchandises and all that. But this is something like we just don't know how to do.
Yeah.
We need a kind of, for me, call it declare state of emergency in sports in Nigeria, frankly, so that we can put down structures. You have this 20-year development program. NFF have been talking about it for years.
Okay.
I know some were carrying dust, for a long time now. The same way also the government sometimes they say they have 20-year, vision 2025 and all that, and then it disappears. They extend it by another 10 years. That 10 years, the new government comes, forgets that. So you don't have this kind of continuity. The thing is, if they allow individuals, businesses, corporate boards to really handle football and having the administrative side, the NFF, for example, the NPFL, the League Management Board, or whatever they used to call them, or if they're still there, run by professionals. Eliminate corruption. Billionaires in Nigeria will start running clubs.
Okay.
People will know where they are putting their money and know what they are reaping. But when you know that money will come, or you put in that money, it just disappears. Or your player who is good will not be called to camp because somebody else has paid money to go. Exactly. And you know that if your player makes it to the national team, plays in the World Cup, FIFA gives each club money for your player. So these are ways that money can come into clubs. Then them having stadia, having a good ticketing system, broadcasting rights. So it is so complex. It's a whole it's a complex issue. The solution is very, very complex. It's not just one. And this is where a government should intervene. When the war started in Ukraine, I left Ukraine, spent some time in Hungary.
Yeah.
3 academies offered me, contracts, but I refused because that's not where I wanted to,
When you stay,
But I used that opportunity to study their system. I went to their training, spoke with their technical directors. It was more of a learning process for me. And as well, I was also consulting with one of the teams there.
Yeah.
How to work, because knowing that I came from Shakhtar Donetsk, that's the biggest club in Eastern Europe. So there were a lot of things I had to give them, share it technically and all that, how to even do their trainings for the kids and all that. So in Hungary, the government declared a kind of program for sport development program. There's a special tax that goes to the sport development. So government provided infrastructure for all existing teams, not just football, in all sports in general.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have is struggling. Government will come and build pitches for you. Nice structure, have your dressing rooms, have everything. If there are coaches, qualified coaches who start working there, they get tax incentives. The club get tax incentives. A lot of things.
Yeah.
So they are motivated people to come in, not just corporate bodies coming in to now sponsor. Even the qualified people themselves came in there. They're going to get good salary. They're going to get tax incentives, free transport, even free public transport. If you have your ID card as a coach or as a football. So, and they are in about 5 years now. We're going to see Hungary improve better than they are now. We're going to see that 5-10 years they're going to improve. So we have to customize such a thing to ourselves, so that we could have corporate bodies coming in there, incentives for like anybody who opens a club, corporate body, give that person a tax incentive, for example, so they could like come in there, invest their money, make sure that the glass house or wherever they're not that corrupt and all that. Things are run by professionals who shall start seeing people come. Somebody like me, sometimes I worked already in Ukraine, spent some time in Hungary, deeply here in Ireland. I want to come back and do this in Nigeria. But how am I going to do that?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about security, number one. Am I going to talk about somebody telling me, oh, yeah, pick this player or pick that player? Or I'm going to be begging them to give me my kits or get me balls or nets or small balls and all that. I'll go crazy. I never called anybody in Shakhtar any day that I need this. Every 6 months, I get a new set of particular things. Every 3 months, you get a new set of things. Whether they're good or they're spoiled or not. Balls, I get huge things. I don't even need to call. Boom, I'll get the text message that this already in the warehouse there is coming where I should do to the storeroom. Simple. Is it my kit? Is it the balls? Is it the tactical boards? Or is it the whistle? Or is it one for everybody? You don't need to worry about all those things. So, I repeat, somebody like me want to come back home, put in my own, just make an input, make an impact, try to help it. I don't think it's going to be there. So this decision, this solution is place where I think the government needs to step in and help give that foundation that people, corporate bodies, individuals, sportsmen can now build on. So we can have a good system in Nigeria.
It's something you talked about. I know that when we'll have a discussion like this, and it also goes on that we need the government to do this or government to do that. I noticed that those conversations or those ideas hit automatic roadblock, because once the government, you need the government to do this, there's a whole lot of bureaucracy you need to do this, that at some point it's just like we're only just making conversation that doesn't yield something. Now, there's things I actually learned over these years is, if things aren't working, what are the smaller things that could be done while we're waiting for the big guys up there to put things in place? I strongly believe there is little or more individuals, academies, clubs can actually do on their own, regardless of the club's involvement. For example, we have a system whereby, I know if I'm still correct, they still do that. There's something we call state cups that they do play. Yes, it seems it doesn't, is a regular sport activities. I've seen social whereby teams go register some academy boys to come play it. But those boys are still playing football, are still school, are still college kids or secondary school kids. We already have a system that brings young players together. They play even once a year, at least once. Let's just say once a year. That is something. Is there a way we can use what we already have, what we are doing right, to establish a good network of tracking down players from that young age till now, till when they're able to enter the academy players? Right now, we're not even talking about moving to Europe. We're talking about their development now. We're not talking about development. Now, how can we use these players that are really talented, that have actually won the State Cup or have potential? How can we harness them in their various secondary schools? For example, is it not easier for us to establish more like sports clubs they have in secondary schools? it doesn't have to be that so much. Every school have their own little way of funding. They can do that within themselves. Raise football equipment for themselves. School can support in the various way they can do and have that structure working. If we can have the PS section, the physical education system in each school to be a little bit strong, this does have nothing to do with the government. This has to do with the schools itself improving those sectors. And when we're doing this states club, it's good we need to channel this down to that department of PHE so that they can be able to track these players down. If we have a body that's coming out from there, which is the PS to the department, this is where they're the body in charge of all school traveling to, making any games, playing any matches. They can track those players. That way, after each match, there's a way we can actually be able to nurture this talent within each school, track down the movement of these players, move from one place to another. This can be done at the local level, and I believe you me, it doesn't need much government involvement in this. We will have the structure in place.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. In the late 80s, in the early 90s, these things were there. You had inter-house sports.
Thank you.
Secondary school. Then you had the state cups. Not even state, you had the local government cups, then state cups. I played in local government and Wari. I played in the state cup, in my school there. And we saw talent. Let me mention a few names. Ben Niro.
Yes, Papa Penny, Ben
He was my senior in school. That was how he was discovered. He played in the State Cup. Alex Opera, goalkeeper then. Same thing. And this, I'm talking about my school alone. Even Osando Opera. Osando Opera. What's the other guy that went to 1987 World Cup again? Osando.
Wow.
It's alright. Philip
Osando. Let me check.
Others as well who played in the process. These are people I've not really named. People stayed there when they played in state cups and they were discovered. So we could go back to it. It's not going to be that difficult. Have inter-house sports, have all those matches, between secondary schools in the state. Just have people from the sports council, if they still exist, just come and watch. Just a note, name them, get these schools to register with the sports council, register these children, send in whatever document that they have, just have a kind of database, then watch them play. When they play on the state level, you can even pick these people, pick some of them
already have
up there. And the national level, have regional, they must not go to Abuja, have regions in Nigeria now, you have the north, you have the southeast, have such competitions there. When you have there, you can have regional champions. This is where you come to harness talents.
Exactly.
So when the under 16s, under 17s want to search for players, you don't need to throw the gates open to 2,000 people. You already have these competitions where you can just pick players from. This is what we have already, that we don't need to, invest so much in it.
Yeah, exactly.
You use that as the base to form our kind of system, where you can now watch players growing and catch them young, and then get, qualified coaches now who can really handle them. Those days, if I remember very well, any team that's representing like then Imo State, then the sports council will bring a coach that will coach them when they're going to play to the national level.
Exactly.
Apart from the school coach.
The school coach, yes.
Exactly. I know they used to coach my school. Then a coach used to come. I used to work with the local coach, and they trained this guy. They went over there and played. Even to the point that they played, and in 1985 they went to Sweden to represent Nigeria in the World Youth World Sport, in the World Secondary School in Sweden. These are people I know. So we have done that already, but unfortunately, all of a sudden, things started going south. Why? Because football became poverty alleviation program.
Yes.
That's what it became. I want my son to play quickly and go to Europe. Anybody, Europe. I get dozens of messages every week. Coach, help me find trial. Be my agent. Listen, I say, guys, I'm a coach. I'm not an agent. I don't organize trials. I don't organize. Exactly. People are so hungry for that. Parents are pushing their kids. That's why you're having so much competition. Nice about who who has money, who can pay, and all that. But for us to do that, we have to go back to the basics, how we all did it before. But already there's a program by some people I know. There's already what you call the Nigerian Youth Football Association.
Yeah.
The idea is to go back now, build this foundation.
Okay.
Next couple of years.
Say the name is what? Can I have the name again?
Nigerian Youth Football Association.
Okay, I'm going to check them out.
Check it out. I'll send you the links. I'm part of it, and it's still in the organizational stage. And but unfortunately, it was already hitting some red tapes by the people who feel that the people want to take our position and all that some rubbish. Like the people who are supposed to support the program, so, or get this association affiliated to you.
Yes.
Let's make it easy. Just do the controlling, and then we're going to help support where you can, but so that the national coaches will not need any time anywhere to start opening gates open. You'll be getting these talents, and believe me, you have under 16s playing under 16s. We shouldn't be thinking about going to win Junior World Cup, winning.
Exactly.
For me, it is a no-no. When you are at that age, it's not about winning. It's development.
Yes.
That is why after that under 16, we go there to win. They come back, we shower them with money, we name streets after them.
Nice.
And that's it. After 2 years, they are all gone.
They're all gone. They're all gone.
We should put that money you're showering on them into their development, giving them pocket money, salaries, make the environment good. If they come back, no problem. I know most of these lads are from poor families. You can give them some money, but don't make it fanfare. Many of them have their heads swollen, and they think they have arrived. And that is why I don't want to call names. That's why some of them failed. And then when they all of a sudden big teams start inviting them, they go over there. The same problem we mentioned earlier will come in. They don't know the basics. Especially when some of them are already older than the age that they declared. They already reached your peak of football. You go over there to Europe, you start playing against young smart kids who started learning from age of 7. They disgrace you.
Exactly.
You find it hard to even the drills that they're doing, things like that. So we have to get to that point where football is not going to be a part of the poverty alleviation program. Let it be a developmental program, part of the developmental program, and that is it. So when we have such a structure through some association that should come up, that will help all these states competitions to work out, even try to write to corporate bodies who can provide some small kits or some, even if it's water for them to drink during the matches, some things like, and approach them. People who make bottled water can, provide such things. One thing or the other, small money for transport. Bus company might just transport that team to the stadium and back. Call them our sponsors. Give them that advert. That our transport sponsors of this state secondary school football tournament. They've helped this school and that school transported to the stadium and back. Give them that that encouragement, and give them that let people see them. There are ways, but you need those minds to sit down.
Exactly.
People will need to do when they see there are going to be results. If we do it in the state level, in the local government level, in the state levels, it will kind of go up there to national level.
Now that you've actually pointed out quite a good point, whereby we're able to do this. Organizations trying their best to get this working as much as the way they can. Now, there's an angle to this that I really want us to discuss, which is the mentality of these players. Okay, we're talking about how we can actually have their structural development get to the point whereby they can easily be scouted out or join the elite football club, which is the goal of every footballer. Now, how can these players have the right mentality to be able to cope and adapt with this? Because regardless how we say it, as often at times I see even the elite players playing in Nigerian Professional Football League, when they still go for trials, why would you still be going for trials? It springs, and that means the thing that you still don't have the basics to get what it's all about. You send this player, if you want this, why do you invite this player for trials again? You should talk about going for medicals. So are you still in doubt? What are you not looking for that you didn't even get for you to approach the players? So this can also serve as kind of, it affects players' mentality. It means that even as I'm playing here, I'm still not up there yet. How can we have these young players have the right mentality to fit in an elite structured environment?
Number one, it starts from the first point I mentioned, due to lack of proper infrastructure and coaching. Now, if you have that, we don't need to have Santiago Bernabeu here. It could just be just a normal pitch, and just coaches who understand coaching, not just PA masters. Then, when you have all this going on, then you're going to have high competition levels. Don't forget that. Why is our league so low? The competition level is very, very low. We can't even go to CAF Champions League anymore, to the group stages. You make the group stages while rejoicing as if something great has happened. When the competition level rises, you see that players now will be exposed to high intensity football, high tactical football, like you have in North Africa, for example, like you have in South Africa. That's why they are growing. So when you have them at that level, it will be easy already. Tactically, they are prepared. Mentally, they are prepared. Physically, they are prepared. Tactically, as a team, they are prepared. You see that when that guy goes out there, he doesn't even need trials. When a team from Belgium will just put on NPFL matches, he just wants to, he will look at the intensity level, look at the coaching, look at how the guys are playing. They don't need to even when they see that, yes, that this league is at this level, they will not need to start calling your players for trials. They will know that, yes, this guy has been on a very, very competitive, high competitive level. Oh yeah, let him come in. The last transfer we had, was it not Ahmed Musa? Maybe. That's the last I remember that went from went to a good team in where was that, in Holland. I don't remember any other one after that really stayed and became successful. I don't remember.
I think we had the likes of Chisom Chikata that moved to Wada Casablanca, and I think he won CAF there, but the mentioned but a few. I mean, in the modern time, they actually moved from our local league and then went to a different league and still did something out of it. It required an up and down. And there's something you keep mentioning every single time here. This is the third time I actually noted that you're talking about coaching. So does it mean that if you look at let's say you talk about the 17 from 7 years to then just 7 to let's say 12. How can we get the right coach at that level? Because getting an experienced coach to harness these kids at that level is hard. I don't think we have that kind of resources. A coach of your caliber in Nigeria will not be spending their time with these kids.
I agree.
That's the truth. A coach of your caliber can't do that, because you need it somewhere. We already have a deficit of your expertise in the higher leagues. So we need to fix these ones up. So how can we have our local grassroots coaches, academy players have necessary courses to be right equipped to give these kids the bare minimum?
Okay. If some of our teams would kind of affiliate themselves with some European teams, just ask them once in a while, send us coaches to come and do coaching clinics. Our coaches, not like we're going to provide you accommodation, transport, everything. No, we don't really have money. Just come and have a 1 week coaching clinic. Southampton does it. They come to Nigeria. Southampton, they come to Nigeria once in a while. I mean, a friend of mine is involved in that. They come there at least to help them get the level 1 coaching license, which would be enough for them to just go out there on the street, be able to teach children how to trap the ball, how to set your foot properly. When you are doing those minimal basics, it is possible. Even I think state football association can do that.
Yes.
Now NFF can as well do that. Young coaches, when I mean young coaches, it could be people who just came out of even secondary school, it doesn't matter. University students, young people, even players, the young players themselves as well. When they have this at least level 1 training, it's enough for them to work with children like between the ages of 7 and 12 to be able to teach them those basics. It's not about winning, it's not nothing else, not about formation, it's about just the basics. So it is possible. And if, again, this is where, like I said, somebody like me can come in. If I'm invited, giving just these things, I say, so this is your transport money, this is your accommodation. Even somebody calls me, I know people don't really have money, that money.
Yes.
It's possible to put it in the window. I could come over there 2 weeks, get young coaches, help them learn about these basics. That way they can start off. So we need to invest in the coaches. But the biggest problem that we have is that people nowadays say, oh, why are you giving this job to foreigners? Foreign coach every time. I ask them, name one person in the local league who is better than that person that they're bringing.
Exactly.
What's he done? Has he won the National League? Won the Cup? Fair and square?
Has
he gone out there to win the CAF Champions League? Or at least, gotten to the group stage, played good football?
Has he competed? Yes.
Has he competed? Not when he comes here, you see that knowledge is missing. The opponents are boxing you. You get too predictable. Your teams get too predictable. Football is evolving every day.
Exactly.
It's evolving every day. I have my UEFA-B license today. I just finished with the Barcelona now tactical analysis. It's broken down into 4 different models. I got some certificates in 4 different models and the overall model as a tactical analysis. It's something different. And as we are being taught, they will tell us this one started from 2023. That by 2020, it was different.
It was different. So everything is evolving. You need to stay up to date with it.
Exactly. Let me give you an example. Before we knew it was 4-4-2, 4-3-3 and that. But nowadays, 4-4-2 you can break it down into 5 different concepts.
Yes, so true.
The rules. And that's what we start calling that individual tactical task for each position. It's something a player has to know. Like you rightly mentioned, if he has the ball, what should you do?
Yes.
What options? You have options with the ball, without the ball, and when you're with the ball, what are your options? I mean, these are things. It's no more like I play, I pass it. No, these are
exactly
things the player should know. That's what elite footballers. The player has that ball. Before the ball comes to him, he already knows where he's going to. And that now will make him know how to put that leg, how to open his hips, get that control, one touch, one boom pass, and that his striker is already on the run to get the ball to score. So that's why it's not more about working hard, it's about working smart. Just an example I'm talking about. So getting these young coaches to let them learn how to teach the basics. We start from there. It's a program that will go like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years like that. Before you know it, you have Morocco has shown us that they're doing it. Anytime you're having any CAF licensing program, majority of the coaches are from.
Oh, really?
But they are investing in their football. Infrastructure-wise, they're hosting on the 16 World Cup now, for about 10 years or how many years now. They're developing their facilities. Their teams are going to be automatically qualified, playing, competing. They have their national sports center, football center, where they are coaching people. People are coming back from diaspora, coming in here to help, sending their coaches out to learn. So why can't we do that? Morocco is not richer than us. It's about the vision.
So based on what you actually pointed out here, which is visible to achieve, and eliminating the government from this, because everything I'm doing, I'm trying to eliminate the government from this because those are not within what we can do. Now, and what we can do in terms of these clubs, going to your experience so far and how you got involved with Shakhtar Donetsk, and I think that our clubs in Africa or in Nigeria precisely, all these clubs need to have an affiliation with some grassroots academies. Not a Burnley that you need to they are going to be part of. You have an affiliation. Everybody, all football teams can have affiliation with a particular academy. It doesn't mean you have to have a. The truth is, I believe that most times in Africa, everyone wants to have a monopoly of things. Now, everybody can, like, let's say there's an academy in somewhere in Lagos, or let's leave Lagos overcrowded in this kind of situation. Let's talk about in different part of, let's say in Kaduna, for example, or go to Sokoto, or you're going to deep down in Imo State. You have an academy, a grassroots young academy right there. I think the ideal thing to do is for Heartland to have an affiliation with these academies. Support them, provide them with the basics of football. Mostly, you don't even need to just support them right now. This has nothing to do with the government. This is about you supporting the grassroots, because if football is growing, you as a team, a club is growing. We are all enjoying I call it the football boom that is happening in the whole world. Especially Ronaldo made it possible for Saudi Arabia. Is up in there. Remember when China was up there? Now it's only time of Saudi Arabia, and everybody is cashing into the football boom. Why are we not taking advantage of this? And by those affiliation with all this, that way you provide them with the little as football, little as boots for people who don't have a little call it your own way of having your foundation, your foundation of what you're doing for the younger ones. That way you guys are keeping track of these players. If a players imagine, I know it's easier for everybody to have an eye on this player because you have an affiliation with them. That way you're keeping track of these players. For, like you said, from time to time, you don't need to bring in a coach from abroad or anywhere. You have your elite coaches. You send someone, you give these guys some boost. You come to them, you train them, and believe me, something I've seen that works so well is anytime you have a foreign or a different body apart from your coach normally say every day come to your academy, it gives a good boost for the team. They are being recognized. They are going to go somewhere. This is simple things I think that we can do. Right. To harness this situation. Remember, what we are driving in all this thing we're discussing today is why is it that we are dropping about, let me give you the numbers, about 6% of West African players make up the elite football team in Europe. 6%, and it's a good number in terms of when we talk about all African counterparts, but 6% is quite low. This is based on people who had academies affiliation here in Africa. It's time to come. If this continues this way, I'm telling you, all the whole assimilation we're going to have is only going to be only Europe based. It's already happening. Yeah. And with time, it will be hard to assimilate young ones into, because now they don't have the right tools to compete. The truth is, when they bring the situation that no, you're not, like you said, you're choosing the wrong coach, you see, it is okay, fine, you're about to choose it. You can't compete. You can't compete, and if you can't compete, that makes it that what they did is right, even though we know it may not be the ideal structured way, but because they made it possible that you can't compete when the things are in level playing, which is what we're trying to mitigate here for young academy players to be able to compete with the European elite players when it comes to every single thing. Now, having said this, I know it's always a big if they can do it. If they can do it, let's leave that aside for the big players. What are we doing in terms of scouting and exposure? The last time I checked, everything that has to do with players getting scouted involves so much funding, and funding that people who needs to be scouted are not being scouted. Well, the people who have the money to be scouted are the ones who are being scouted. How can we mitigate this so the right people who need you actually you've been a victim of a situation like this, so you could understand better what it means that how do we make it possible that people who need to be scouted are scouted and not people who have the funds to be scouted are the ones that are being scouted?
You know, the way things are now, of course, it's going to be very difficult. But if we put up the structure like we mentioned,
yes,
you know, having like the state school tournaments, national tournaments, the competition level will be very high.
Yes.
For talents, we're going to see talents there. If we just continue that, believe me, the scouts from our national, or let me call the club sides, will be coming to watch.
Yes.
Agents will be coming to watch. It might get to the point that if we're going to have like finals of the tournament, or like maybe put it in a mini league or whatever, how it is, foreign academies might as well come over to watch, if they really see that the structure is proper.
Yes.
And maybe you've seen that the under 16 team have gone out there, play good football, and they ask how come. They go back, they say, oh, there is this structure there.
Yeah.
When you have such tournaments, maybe the final, the third place matches, believe me, foreign scouts, grassroots football scouts, they will come over. You will even have your own national team coach. He'll be there to watch.
Yes.
To see where to pick players as well. So automatically that problem solves itself. We don't need your dad to be head of chief of army staff.
Yes.
To go in there, or that you've paid like 2 million naira, then that's when they'll give you that opportunity.
Yeah.
See, that is how, like you mentioned, you have those that need to be scouted and not there. But those who don't play well because they have the opportunity, they have the backing,
they have the funds. Yes.
Who their father is, they are the ones going in there. And when you have the wrong personnel, you never have the right team. As simple as that. I believe if you have this structure in
place,
it is very, very powerful. Yes, that issue of scouting will solve itself automatically.
All right, so it's really interesting, and there's something that I want you to actually advise the young academy boys out there who is actually going through the kind of put in their armpits up and down. It's not quite easy going through the struggles of the Nigerian toughs, bad toughs as well. What advice do you think that academy players out there need to have? What kind of skills or inbuilt mentality do you think they need to build up to equip them in case they're actually going out there to compete with elite academy players out there in Europe as well?
Number one, patience. Even before you start competing with those people, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have that patience. Never allow desperations to push you beyond to put things beyond your control. But the problem that many of these young boys face is that they are so desperate with their parents that they fall into the hands of wrong agents, fake agents. So while I was in Ukraine, there were agents, our fellow countrymen, working with some Ukrainians that were bringing hundreds of boys from West Africa in particular. They were promising them heaven and earth, asking them to bring money. On arrival, they take money from them, take their passports. They will go, we're going to do you scouting. They will come to Shakhtar, for example, ask us to provide like the under 17 team, under 20 team for a friendly match. Yeah, we might agree. So, okay, go and play. They'll tell those guys that, yeah, this is scouting. Shakhtar will scout you. Fake information. I'm telling you, real life situation, real. Then these boys will go like, oh, Shakhtar. They'll go play those friendly matches. After they'll tell them, sorry, they didn't see anybody, and so you have to go back home. They've taken your money already. You paid already for the transfer. Don't be done that. People get frustrated. And these are boys who their parents have sold land, sold houses to push them abroad. The guy will tell you, I'm not going back again.
Yeah.
We had West African boys stranded in Ukraine without documents, became illegal, that came in through this whole thing. It's just a short story. I've had another broadcast, when another people, somebody, invited me and interviewed me on that. I told my story, went down to this. I would try to give advice to young people. First of all, don't be desperate. That's number one. And when somebody tells you that it's not easy in Europe to make it, don't start saying, oh, everybody getting destiny. These people start, I want two people, many people telling me that I work for me. I have my own. I say, relax. Yeah. It's not by the grace of God, just as we throw it in the air.
Yeah.
It's a structure. It's about who are you? Where have you been?
Yeah.
Where are you going to? How genuine is that system? It's not that easy. And I always tell them, Europeans will not you won't come in there running around every day, then they will now sign you. When you are good, they will come. They'll come
for you. They'll find you, definitely.
So I always tell them, be patient, play. Even if they're not teaching you so much there in your academy or wherever you're playing, YouTube is now accessible for everybody.
Yes.
Trainings. Work hard on yourself. You don't need to have cones or anything. Take stone and put in between there, run around. Learn new things yourself. Even when you are playing, try to have some kind of video evidence of who you are.
Exactly.
Have the Instagram. People write me, I'm a good player. I say, okay, do you have videos? No.
Yes, that's how we know.
You enter your Instagram account. What you're seeing is memes and Two-Face did this, Aproko jokes, and nothing. And you're there wearing a football jersey. So how will I market you? Get me videos. Let me send to somebody who can see you. I think these things are very simple. It's not too difficult. Let your friend just take his phone, try it as good as possible, as much. There are programs on the internet now, like apps that can help you develop all these kind of videos. Circle you where you are, things you don't have, a kind of portfolio, like I call it. So that I'm talking about, things like that. But the thing is, work hard. Don't jump on anything that you see.
Yes.
Try to learn new things. Train smarter, not just like you have. And then, if you send your information out there, somebody might say that, yes, you're really good. Take part in all these kind of competitions, wherever it is. Just try to market yourself anyway. And then, but don't think that you're coming out, you're going to sign in Azerbaijan, and play with one 4th division team. You make $200 in a week, month. That is not life.
Yeah. It's not
life. Patience is number one. And if you are there already, like you've gotten those trials, be willing to learn. You have to work hard. Even open your heart there, even when you're talking with the coaches or anything, make sure you don't go there that, do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Go there, watch, learn. Try so hard to repeat those drills. They will see that you are raw talent. Don't worry, but show it. Don't be overzealous there. Start breaking people's legs in training. I've seen that you are happy to want to do something. They want to see your discipline. They want to see your strong mentality. They want to see your resilience. They want to see how you handle even criticism. These are things they see.
Exactly.
They want to see how you relate to your teammates, how you read the game, how you encourage them, how you listen. They watch all these things. You might not be the best player, but they look at your mentality. If you have the right mentality, they believe that yes, we can polish this gem
and build on this.
And now build on this. So, and then hope everything works out well.
All right. I want to say a very big thank you so much, Coachy. This is quite an honor having you down here, and putting into your brain about telling you giving me all the stories about how you went through from the 16 years to where you are now. It is something we really want to emulate, especially in the fact that I believe that young African players should always have in the back of their mind that if not football, there should be something else. Now, imagine if you didn't have any backup about school education or things like that you'd be stuck with each other's dreams. So
that's right.
It brings us to the part of, even though that you are in academy, is always should be going alongside with your education, because if this doesn't work out, you always have something to fall back to, so that you don't have people who are over the age of 28 still playing in an academy. That is unacceptable. Not because I don't blame them for that, because the system is such a way that we don't put a limit to all this, because we didn't have a good structure to help players know that this level you've missed this window, you need to go over to the next window. It doesn't mean you have to, if you're not a footballer. Look at you now, you're not a footballer, but you're actually moving toward becoming a licensed UEFA coach. That is it. You have other things you can actually do apart from being an active footballer. There are different businesses of football they can actually involve in apart from being an active player. So I want to say a big thank you. I really appreciate your time over here. It was really a learning curve for me as well, because basically about the project that Blaqsport is going on is we're trying to give African football a data platform, because one problem we notice that African players are having, or African sports industry is having, is no good data driven environment. So because of lack of data, journalists, reporters, everybody have nothing to work with. We work with data. If there's no data to work with, there's nothing. So we're actually moving into that, which is before this year runs out, we should be able to launch it. We are trying to build a community whereby we get to collect data, interact with these data, and also be able to analyze them. And we're also urging, like you, in as much as we're removing the government out of this, we're urging them to do more for the NFL, for Nigeria in particular, because I find it a little bit difficult that at this point that MPFL doesn't have any active league website giving us what we need. It's too bad that we are only getting things from a third party, which I get, but we need a good data-driven NFPL and also a good data-driven NFL, for instance, because we need to document our growth from the look at how you actually narrating your players group from age 7. It's wonderful. And I wish we could also keep that track record of our players. So this is something we're actually looking into, and we're looking forward to looking into the Nigerian Youth Football Association. It's quite interesting to have this platform trying to get things done in any way possible, apart from the normal government structured football league that we have or enjoy. So I would say thank you so much. It's really a good learning curve for us. And before we wrap it up for this episode, so there's a game we normally play, I know, which is really nice. We normally do this, and is a normal thing you normally know is you find a football club. So I will usually name a football club, and the last letter that starts on the club, you call on that football club from that. So if I say Arsenal, it ends with L, you name another club that starts with L. We run that for 5 seconds and say who runs that out. Okay, so this is what we've been doing for quite a long time now. Let's say if we're still going to have a new winner today. Okay, so today I'll give you the honors. So how we start, you name a club, I name a letter that starts from the last letter. We do have 5 seconds to name it, and that's it. Okay, so with the due honors, I'll tell you to start, please, Coach.
Chelsea.
Okay, so that ends with an A, so I'll say Arsenal.
L. Leicester.
Okay, that's with Leicester. We're talking about with an R, right? So that's Roma. Coming back to A.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned Arsenal already. Andola Sport.
Andola Sport. That's T. Wow. So T. Tottenham.
No. M. Molden.
Molden is an N.
Molden. E at the end.
Okay, Molden. Okay, E. Oh, that's lovely. Everton.
N. Nottingham Forest.
Oh, Nottingham Forest. Okay, you have T. We have oh my God. I think I'm gonna crash out on this. I just crashed out. Thank you so much. I couldn't get T. Oh my God.
You mentioned Forest, so
that's really quite nice. Honestly, I want to say very thank you so much, Coach Obi. It's really nice to have you on Blaqsport Podcast. So please, viewers out there, we need you to spend some time, go through this video and give us what you think a rising or aspiring young footballer needs to be doing to get him up to the very level with his elite counterpart, because regardless that you're just still struggling, nobody cares. When it comes there, you need to perform, because everybody needs have an equal chance. So you need to get yourself that personal development to get in. So just to give you a little bit breakdown of what Coach Obi said, Coach Obi actually gave us that we also need to, young footballers need to have what we call a personal development, have through your own record, build your personal exposure online, social media platform is out there for you, Instagram, TikTok, for you to be able to sell yourself out to the world. There's no longer limit, and we should be able to track down this talent and development of these players from the 7 years using going through the state competitions, and also academy players, and being able to get affiliation from the league and state clubs to to able to provide them funding and advocate, and also track them to see how they can effectively provide them funding, investments, and that way they can provide good coaching skills and coaching training for the young coaches. So this is quite in depth. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And also for the little life lesson you've taught us to never relent on everything. Get steadfast and always have a plan B, which is education in your own case. So is there anything you have for us today before we call it a wrap for this episode, please, Coach?
We should never stop. They carry last.
Yes.
Keep dreaming, keep working hard. That's the thing. And the young players try to get a good mentor, somebody who's been there where you're trying to get to. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, people who give you good advice, not those try to find out if that person is there just for your money and all that. Look at the person's background. Who has he helped? Get the right people to advise you. Apart from family, sometimes they could put unnecessary pressure on you as well. Family can as well be your backbone. But as difficult as it might be as a young person to make all these decisions, don't be desperate. That is what I always tell them. Don't be desperate. When you're not desperate, you'll be in a position to make better decisions.
Wow, I really like that. Don't be desperate. So this is a wrap here on Blaqsport Podcast. Don't forget to stream us on social media platform, on IG, on X, on Facebook, and also on YouTube, also on Spotify. And stay look on our episode every single week. I'm still here, your host, Instead Uche, signing out on Blaqsport. Don't forget, wherever you are, Blaqsport will find you. Have a wonderful week. Bye.